you suffer from ringing in your ears and have already tried everything without lasting results, there is a specific reason almost no one explains. And once you understand that reason, everything you've tried so far will finally make sense. Most people treat tinnitus as if it were just a problem in the ear, and that's exactly why the relief never lasts. Because as long as you don't understand where this sound is really coming from, you'll keep treating the wrong place. In this video, I'm going to explain the 3 most effective steps to reduce tinnitus in a simple and straightforward way. And by the end, you'll understand why ignoring what I'm about to show you may be the exact reason nothing has worked until now. So stay until the end, because leaving before understanding this means staying stuck in the same cycle. If you live with tinnitus, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That sound that never goes away. That gets worse in silence. That makes it hard to relax, to sleep properly, to experience real peace. You start avoiding very quiet places. You begin needing background noise to sleep. And before you realize it, even having a conversation becomes tiring because the internal noise competes with everything. It's not in your head, and it's not an exaggeration. It's real, and there is an explanation. Now let's move on to the 3 steps that truly make a difference. First, understanding that tinnitus is not a sound coming from the ear, but a signal the brain is processing incorrectly. The ear may have been the initial trigger, but the sound you hear now is being generated inside the brain, like an alarm that won't shut off. Second, reducing excessive activation of the nervous system. When you're stressed or tense, the nervous system amplifies internal signals, including tinnitus. That's why it often feels worse at night. The nervous system needs consistency to calm down. Third, improving communication between the neurons that regulate sound perception. There is a region in the brain responsible for filtering out irrelevant sounds. When that filtering fails, the brain starts treating tinnitus as something important, and the more attention it receives, the more real and intense the sound feels. When applied together, these 3 steps address the root of the problem. But here's the issue. When tinnitus persists for months or years, it starts to change your routine. You avoid silence. You stop doing things that used to be normal. And gradually, mental fatigue builds up, because it's not just the sound, it's the constant irritation, the difficulty concentrating, the feeling that your brain never truly rests. Now comes the part that changes everything. Most people believe tinnitus is permanent, that nothing can be done. But if that were true, why does tinnitus change intensity throughout the day? Why does it get worse with stress and improve when you're distracted? If it were a fixed physical injury in the ear, it should be constant. But it isn't. It fluctuates. And that proves the problem isn't only in the ear, it's in the brain. And the brain can be trained to ignore that sound. This is where what I call the tinnitus blocking system comes in. Think of the brain as an alert control center. It receives thousands of signals all the time. And there is a network of neurons that acts as a filter, deciding what's important and what can be ignored. When this network is balanced, it naturally blocks tinnitus. The sound may still be generated, but you don't perceive it. The problem is that when there's an imbalance in the neurotransmitters that control this filter, the blocking system fails, and the brain starts processing tinnitus as if it were a real and important sound. 3 specific substances are essential here. GABA, which acts as a brake on the nervous system and calms the brain's alarm network. Dopamine, which regulates how the brain reacts to repetitive stimuli. And acetylcholine, which improves communication between the neurons responsible for filtering irrelevant sounds. When these 3 elements are in balance, the tinnitus blocking system begins to work again. And the sound that once dominated your attention starts to fade naturally into the background. But if this system continues to fail day after day, the problem tends to persist. So why don't common solutions really solve the issue? Many people try vitamins, circulation medications, sound devices, even anti-anxiety drugs. And while these may offer temporary relief, they don't correct the neural imbalance at the root of the problem. That's why the cycle returns. And frustration grows. Notice this. Tinnitus changes intensity throughout the day. It gets worse in silence and improves with distraction. It increases with stress, anxiety, or fatigue. It may disappear for moments and then return. This pattern repeats in many people. And it doesn't make sense if the problem were only in the ear, because a fixed physical damage would produce a constant sound. But it doesn't. It varies with the state of the brain. And that's exactly where most people get confused. There is now a natural approach based on this understanding. It works directly on balancing the neurotransmitters that control the tinnitus blocking system. It does three things at the same time. It strengthens the brain's natural braking system, reducing neural overactivity. It supports the production of neurotransmitters that regulate how the brain responds to repetitive sounds. And it improves communication between the neurons responsible for filtering irrelevant noise. The three main components are GABA, which calms the nervous system, L-dopamine, which supports dopamine production and helps reduce tinnitus perception, and alpha-GPC, which enhances cognitive function and neural communication. Together, they work to rebalance the system that controls how the brain processes sound. This isn't magic, and it's not instant. The brain needs time to relearn. Consistency is key, and stopping too early is why many people fail. What truly makes a difference is rarely talked about openly. Below this video, I've left a link with more information on a natural spray-based supplement that works exactly in this way. It's a liquid formula with fast absorption, designed to support the neurotransmitters involved in the tinnitus blocking system. With several daily applications, you're giving your brain the support it needs to function as it should. Many people are managing tinnitus naturally, without relying on heavy medications or expensive treatments. And the best part is that you don't need to wait forever to start noticing changes. Your brain isn't broken. It just needs the right support to filter out what doesn't matter anymore. Below in the video description, I've left a link to the official manufacturer's website for those who want to learn more and decide calmly whether this approach makes sense for their situation. Thank you all for watching. Take care and see you next time.